Good evening everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. And if you're new here, sit back, relax and enjoy the show. Because tonight it's my September wrap up. So stay tuned. Okay everyone, so this month I read 11 books, which is a lot for me, but more on that later. There's a book that I'm reading right now. It's Dungeon Crawler Carl, book 5, which is called The Butcher's Masquerade. Loving the series, people. I'm an addict. But yeah, this month I've had 2 DNFs, a lot of stuff in between, some actually really good books. And then 2 excellent 5-star reads. And you can guess what one is. Right. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get going. Okay, my first DNF was Toxic Love by Christopher Triana. And yeah, this was unfortunate, people, because this is part of our Fright Club pick for extreme horror for September. And yeah, I'm sorry, I just couldn't do it. And it's kind of sad because I really enjoy the author. In fact, every other book from him I've given 4 or 5 stars. But this one just felt like it was written by a different author. And I'm not usually one that gets offended by stuff, or, you know, nothing really triggers me. But this book, yeah, there's something about it that just didn't work for me. And we're still going to have a live chat. It's going to be myself, it's going to be Crits from Secrets Reads, and Bad from Bad is Rad. And we're going to have a live chat, but it's going to be more about just extreme horror in general, which Bad really loves, and a little bit about this book, which both of them finished and I DNF'd, but that's okay. And to be honest, yeah, there's not really a hell of a lot we can talk about in the book, apparently. There's no kind of like deep themes or underlying meaning to the book. That's just gross and disgusting, and yeah, I didn't really cope with it very well. So that is Toxic Love. That cover and the name sort of tells you, yeah. Okay, the second DNF was Black Ambrosia, Paperback from Hell by Elizabeth Engstrom. Now, this is the first paperback from Hell I did not enjoy, but unlike Toxic Love, I might well pick this up again, because I just really think I was not in the mood. I found it very slow burn, very repetitive, and inside this young woman's head. And yeah, there's a lot of like sharing her thoughts about what's going around. And yeah, I mean, I read you the thing the other day, you know, is she kind of a vampire? It's not a spoiler. What is she? Who is she? I didn't read far enough to find out. But as I say, if I'm in the mood, I might pick it up again. But yeah, I'm still enjoying reading the other paperbacks from Hell. So this was just an exception for now. And that's Black Ambrosia. Okay, next up we got Hell House by Richard Matheson. Now, out of all these books, I think this was maybe the most disappointing for me. I still gave it 3.5 stars. But I was expecting so much more. I mean, after all, Stephen King says Hell House is the scariest haunted house novel ever written. Now, I think my problem is I've just got a thing with haunted houses. And the tropes of haunted houses don't do it for me. And although this is incredibly well written, you know, places I found it really scary. There were some moments. And I mean, if I compare it to The Haunting of Hill House, which is maybe 2.5, 3 stars as well, yeah, it kind of lifted the intensity with this book. It was a lot scarier, but there was no building of tension. Yeah, it just kind of went, you have these moments and then it kind of goes back to them investigating a house. And by saying them, I mean there's a doctor, and he's a doctor of science, and he's gone into the house, and then there's a spiritualist, and there's another spiritualist who was a survivor, because this house is infamous. I think 20 years ago there was an event and people died. There was a suicide, people went mad, ended up in a lunatic asylum. And yeah, one survivor, it pretty much almost happened to him as well. He was scarred by the whole event. So now they're all in this house, along with the doctor's wife as well. So 4 people in the house, and they're investigating what's going on. And there's a bit of a kind of contrast. There's a bit of a kind of bashing heads between the scientist, the doctor, who believes there's nothing supernatural involved, and it's not a spoiler, and then the spiritualist, who's like a medium, and believes that the house is truly haunted. And yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and finding out what's going on. But it just, ultimately I felt a little bit let down. You know, I think about some haunted house stories that I really enjoy. A book I read, I think it was last year, one of my books of the year, one of my favourite horror novels, Burnt Offerings, from the 70s. Now that is an intense haunted house story, and you don't have these usual tropes. And I think about The Shining by Stephen King, obviously. So yeah, it's worth a read. I didn't hate it, I just didn't love it. I was hoping that I would love it. I didn't find it terrifying. I found it scary in parts. Yeah, I think the ending was ultimately just a little bit of a letdown as well. I kind of, yeah, is that it? Yeah. So yeah, that's Hell House by Richard Matheson. Okay, now we're moving to the 4 stars, people. Next up we got The Red Tree by Caitlin R. Kiernan. Now yeah, once again I'm going to say that this cover is terribly misleading and deceptive. This is not a YA novel at all, people. It's actually an excellent novel. It's weird, it's strange, and it's actually very deep. And what's it about? Okay, it's about this middle-aged author, and after a breakup with her girlfriend, her lover, yeah, she moves into this old farmhouse in the kind of the roads rural area. There's nothing around her, and this book is like kind of a journal entries. You know, she's in this farmhouse and she discovers this manuscript kind of under the house, and in this manuscript it kind of talks about this red oak tree that is supposedly haunted. All sorts of happenings. There's a lot of detail about things that have been going on over the ages with this red oak tree. You know, linked to kind of paganism and sacrifices and all this stuff. I'm not going to give away any spoilers. The thing is, you're inside this woman's mind, this author's mind, and she's very much an unreliable narrator, and it's unsettling, people, and you don't know whether she's telling the truth about part of what she's writing down or all of what she's writing down. There's no, you can't really tell the truth sort of from fiction, from fact, and I think one of the problems I had with the book, so, I mean, it's a 4-star, I think I gave it maybe 3.5, rounded up to 4 stars. One of the problems that I had with the book is that there's a lot of meandering, there's a lot of detail, there's a lot of layers, there's a lot of references to other texts throughout, and some people love that. But for me it's to a certain point, but then you kind of want to get back to the narrative. And also, that, you know, it kind of hints at the supernatural the whole time, about this tree, and about what's under the tree, what's happening with this tree, and it never really goes there. But what I most liked about it is being inside this woman's head, and it's unsettling, and, you know, sort of madness, descent into madness. I don't know, it's just, yeah, it kind of puts you off kilter when you're reading this book. But yeah, it was very interesting. I enjoyed it, and yeah, I gave it 3.5, rounded up to 4 stars. Yeah, so that is The Red Tree. Okay, and the next was a big surprise for me, people. Some of you might raise your eyebrows a little bit, right? This is Elevation by Stephen King, and I gave this a solid 4 stars. And yeah, I went in with very low expectations, and I just want to say, first of all, this is not a horror novel. It's a novella, but it's not a horror novella. And I've seen some stuff on Goodreads about people that this appeared in like the best horror novel of da. It's not horror at all. In fact, this was a kind of like a palate cleanser for me between the other darker stuff I read by Stephen King, and it actually was really, really good for what it is. And it's about this man who's losing weight. He stands on a scale, he's losing weight constantly, at small little increments at a time. But he's not getting any smaller. And he's kind of a big guy. Talks about him having a little bit of a moops, suppose you call it that. A little bit of a gut. But he's getting lighter, but not physically. And yeah, it's how he copes with that. But it's also about his neighbours. And it's this lesbian couple. And it's about a small town and their prejudice towards this couple. And at first, he has a problem with their dog crapping on the lawn, his lawn. But he's not a bad guy. And eventually he reaches out to them. Try to help them. And try to, kind of connect to someone different to himself. And yeah, it's a charming, uplifting little novella. It's got very little substance to it in terms of any kind of deep themes of the characters, but I really enjoyed it for what it is. And yeah, maybe for its message. Better to work together and to be aware of people that are different and reach out to them. And maybe that's sorely needed in today's world. But I really enjoyed it. It was charming. And I enjoyed the ending, Elevation. And there's parts of the book that really, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's a part about running. And I used to run half marathons. Some of the stuff in this book, it really related to me. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I had fun. It's not a 5-star, nowhere close to a 5-star, but I really enjoyed it. That's Elevation. Okay, next up is Blackwater by Michael McDowell. And people, I'm on part 3. Just finished part 3, called The Levy. And this is not a book I'm going to talk about now. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, it's slow burn, creepy horror, and very much Southern Gothic about the families and characters and slow build up of tension and this woman that's infecting all the lives of the people around her, of this town. I wouldn't say infecting, but affecting. But yeah, I think when I finished with the whole book, I think it's worthy of a proper review. And I'll talk about each section. I'll do a spoiler review. But give this book a go, guys. Really, really, really good. And yeah, if you haven't read Michael McDowell, well worth the effort. And I'm so happy that I got this book. So yeah, that's Blackwater. Okay, now we're getting to my 2 5-star reads. But actually there's a lot of other books, you might have guessed already. But yeah, first of all, let's talk about The Wolf's Hour by Robert McCammon. And yeah, this was 5 stars for me. Robert McCammon can do no wrong. And I've spoken about this in my reading update, so I'm not going to go on and on about it. But really, people, this is kind of a blend of action, spy thriller, bit of horror, and it's just all mixed up together. An incredibly well told story, awesome characters. Yeah, it's about this man who's basically a werewolf, but so much more than that. He's also a master spy, and we go from the present tense, which is he is behind enemy lines in World War II, because Hitler's got a plan that's going to derail D-Day. And yeah, so his job is to find out what that is, and it's very exciting. And then there are flashbacks, every other chapter there's flashbacks to how he became a vampire. So it's also a beautiful coming-of-age story. I loved it. And in fact, I enjoyed the flashback sometimes a lot more than the actual story. It's very deep, very emotional, very emotional. And of course there's some hard-hitting horror here. There's also a little bit of kind of love interest stuff as well going on, typical of men's adventure stuff. But that didn't really distract, from the plot for me too much. But yeah, I just really, really enjoyed this. It was super exciting and super engaging. Just love Robert McCammon. I think right now he's kind of neck and neck with Stephen King, people. Might be overtaking Stephen King as my favorite author. But yeah, that's A Wolf's Hour. Okay, finally, as mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm addicted, people. I'm going to shoot off 4 books here. Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman, 5 star. Carl's Doomsday Scenario by Matt Dinniman, 5 star. The Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, perhaps 4 star, I don't know, yeah, maybe just call them all 5 star. The Gate of the Feral Gods, also by Matt Dinniman. So that's part 1, 2, 3 and 4. Man, people, I love these books. I am absolutely obsessed about these books. And after this I might watch a little bit of booktube, and then I'm going to carry on with book 5, which I'm really enjoying. And you know, if you are a gamer, I'm just going to say I absolutely recommend this series. And yeah, I'm a big gamer. I'm an RPG gamer in particular, which is what this is all about. You know, I love grinding for loot, grinding to build myself, to make myself more powerful, get to the next level, get better gear, armor, weapons, sword, magic. I have that stuff. I live for that stuff. But you'd think in a book like this, you know, can it be translated? It's called a lit RPG. I mean, isn't it just better just to play the game? People, I had a blast with this book. And yeah, it's very well written in the sense of what the book is. It's completely absurd. And just absolutely crazy, batshit crazy. But yeah, it's I'm going to talk about it. Just at the beginning, you got Carl, right? And it's the middle of winter, freaking cold, and he's lying in bed in his boxes, sort of his underwear. It kind of becomes a running joke. And yeah, he's got his ex-girlfriend's cat, prize-winning cat, Donut, who jumps out of the window into this tree. And he's worried she's going to freeze to death, because he's kind of fond of Donut. Princess Donut. Goddamn Donut. And yeah, he goes out, but he doesn't have time to change properly, so he keeps his boxes on, he just puts the top on, puts his ex-girlfriend's pink Crocs on, because there's nothing else there lying around, and he rushes outside to save Donut. And pretty soon afterwards, the world is flattened from aliens, another galaxy, or galaxy. And so everything that has a roof, from the tallest buildings, little cars to shacks, whatever, anything, whoever's inside is destroyed instantly. And this is not a spoiler, but pretty much basically this happens, and then yeah, the neighbour's got head stuck out the window, so Cole notices the head. Right, I'm gonna get to the stuff. Okay, and now he's got a choice. Carl and Donut have a choice. They can stay on the surface. The aliens give them a choice. They can stay on the surface of the earth, while the aliens, it's all about resources, stuff. Of course they won't be touched. Or they go down into this dungeon world that's got 13 levels. And if they make it out the other side, they can reclaim the earth for themselves. So yeah, a simple choice, but yeah, they decide they're going to go down, because it's warmer there anyway. Yeah, people, I love this book. I have to tell you, it is very funny. There's some very great humour in here, but it's a specific kind of humour. It's very lowbrow, it's very dirty, very sick in many ways, and it's also very dark, this book. The creatures, the violence, it's freaking violent, and there's some very dark, almost horrifying scenes. It might appeal to horror lovers. In fact, it probably would. And yeah, the kills are gruesome. There's nothing. In fact, some of the stuff that happens in the first book alone, yeah, you'd find in a horror novel, even though this is fantasy, RPG. Now, one thing as well is that, like, you would think that reading about characters in a game, would be super boring, because there's no complex world building, complex characters and layers and this. You'd be very wrong with this book, because even though it's kind of absurd, funny, and the world building is brilliant. The further you go into the book with the different levels, the attention to detail, the creativity, and the story, it kind of explodes each book that you go through, each level. It's a kind of there's politics involved later on. I'm not going to go into it. So yeah. So these characters are in this dungeon. They've got to fight their way through the dungeon with the galaxy. Basically, it's their entertainment. And people die horribly. The creatures die horribly. It's just, but it's so funny, people. And I highly recommend that you read this book. Yeah, Dungeon Crawl. Might be my book of the year. Never know. Okay everyone, that's my reading month for September. Done and dusted. Let me know if you've read those books. I'm interested to hear from you down in the comments. Have you read Dungeon Crawler Call? Have you read my other 5-star read, The Wolf's Hour? You know, what did you think of them? Because yeah, I'm having having a lot of fun with that series, people. It is super addictive. But I'll make sure I read other horror as well, don't worry. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well out there. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep those pages turning. And cheers.